Schweitzer. And when he came back, he did not write about the wonderful commitment of Albert Schweitzer. He wrote an angry letter to his friends and others saying that the hospital that Schweitzer had built in Africa was an embarrassment and an abomination because he didn't use sterile technique, which of course by then they'd discovered, was doing open surgical procedures without using sterile technique, was not having people wash their hands. He, in fact, had done a lot of diagnoses and found that there were a lot of problems that just weren't being cared for. And at the risk, Albert Schweitzer is a great hero of mine, but the idea back then was not that your goal and that your responsibility was to actually bring high-quality medical care. It was about his communion with God in service of the poor. So we knew these lessons, and we thought, look, people can do this for all different kinds of reasons, but we want to take the task of providing health care for poor people and turn it into not only a sort of social service, but be serious about it. Figure out what it takes to build these kinds of systems. Think hard about what everyone on the face of the planet deserves. Can we really say that vaccines are really important for children in developed countries, but we just can't do it for poor countries? We do that at great risk, especially with things like swine flu and SARS. What we know from those epidemics is that epidemics become global very, very quickly. So our beginning was, one, we're medical doctors. Two, we were both, Paul Farmer and I were both anthropologists. And for us, understanding from an anthropological perspective what it takes to build these kinds of systems was central to our intellectual project. But the third part was we wanted to execute. We wanted to do it really right. We wanted to figure out how to actually do it. In other words, it wasn't enough for us to just stand up and declare that we were on the side of the poor, declare that we love the poor, as Paul Dudley White argued that Albert Schweitzer did. We actually felt that it was our moral responsibility, but also our professional responsibility as doctors, to actually execute around the values that we espoused. So one of the things we used, of course, was community health workers, illiterate often. We have been building up the skills of our community health workers so that they do what nurses do in most other healthcare settings. It's a form of employment, and we found that they actually follow algorithms far more effectively than physicians and sometimes even nurses, and do a great job. And they've extended our capacity to deliver care very, very broadly. And we replanted. So this is the area that you saw before. And something happened about 15 years ago. We kept planting trees. Everyone told us we were crazy. Don't forget about planting trees, just sort of provide basic